Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Y'all know how to spell it?
To have brothers that have that kind of love for me means the world to me. It does. And what I try to do is honor that by always being straight. That don't mean you're going to always be pleased with me. It always don't mean you always like what I say or do or whatever. But the word betrayal don't apply to me.
Straight up. Okay. All right. Obviously, everyone's radar went off when he said that. But let's make sure we have the proper definition and we're using the proper reference when he says that. Because maybe he's being a little more specific than what we register.
I don't do that shit. You know who I am. You know where I stand.
Okay, let's keep it real because we all talking about the word loyalty, right? And obviously we could take that on a lot of tangents, but let's be specific to Stephen A. Smith. As we know, Stephen A. Smith taking over the show from Skip Bayless, even though Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith did have their rift for a time there, not talking to each other there. Okay, no betrayal though, right? Max Kellerman comes in for Skip Bayless. Obviously, you can say, well, that kind of falls under the umbrella of betrayal. But let Stephen A. Smith continue to talk because on this show, we allow them to speak good or bad for themselves. So then Molly Karam comes into the picture and you see, obviously, she's not a part of this show anymore. So all the OGs are going except Stephen A. Smith, which we'll get to, I'm sure. I'm certain of it.
That's Kendrick Perkins.
Okay.
That's Ryan Clark.
Okay.
Those are two brothers. You know exactly where they stand. They ain't scared of nobody.
Well, they are scared of somebody. They're scared of somebody, but it's not exactly who we think it is.
Not even a little bit.
No, you're right.
And real knows real. And they ain't the only ones. Swagoo, Marcus Spears, one of the best brothers I know. Cats like Louis Riddick and, you know, the corny-ass, funny-ass Dan Orlovsky, good man, good brother, good peoples. I'm blessed to work with a bunch of good people. Men and women. It don't mean you always gonna like what I say or do. I ain't here for that. You ask me a question, I'm gonna give you the truth. As I see it, as I know it.
Straight up.
And I'm gonna move on from there. When you see me react in the past to people, I got cats out there that I did, not people in the business, but other people that I grew up with, my boys and people like that I did a lot of shit for. And then the second you get a chance, you might stab somebody in the back. We all have those people in our lives.
Yeah, and it goes both ways. Here we go. The thing about it is, and we were talking about loyalty and obviously the power dynamics that exist right now around and with Stephen A. Smith as he's talking about Cam Newton and his loyalty, as Ryan Clark came to his defense talking about the lack of loyalty, as Kendrick Perkins has come out for the loyalty of Stephen A. Smith. And as we talk about loyalty, we've also talked about the word jealousy, which Stephen A. Smith has thrown Jason Whitlock's way a countless amount of times, envy, etc., and that's going back and forth. To cut through all of it, it's very interesting in this power dynamic to listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about his real boys in real life and how some of them has tried to come back and betray him, but he's done a lot for them. And then also, obviously, the people on the show and the people he worked with, he's done a lot for as well. So to return that favor, they've done a lot for him in defense of him. And when he says they're not scared of anybody, I don't know if fear is the right word, but certainly the deepest appreciation, sometimes blind loyalty to Stephen A. Smith exists with those individuals to different degrees, obviously. The craziest thing about it all is just simple as this. If you add up all of those guys, all of those people he mentioned and what they're all getting from ESPN, it still doesn't come to an aggregate amount north of what Stephen A. Smith makes. So that obviously has something to do with this power dynamic and this blind loyalty.
That's why loyalty matters, Cam. There's no loyalty in this business. There's loyalty in every business. There's loyalty in every walk of life. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm never going to say or do something somebody doesn't like.
Facts.
What it means is that you're mindful and cognizant of what those people mean to you and why. And you
You rub my back and I rub yours.
take that into consideration when you're doing anything it is that you're doing. Cam's popularity is growing day by day by day. He deserves it. You rooting against him, something wrong with you. Cam's a lovable dude. My sister Carmen, oh my God, she can't get, she loves Cam. She loves the ground Cam walks on. She thinks he's the funniest dude in the world. She loves him to death. I got love for Cam. But don't say shit like loyalty ain't a part of this business.
No, I don't think that's what Cam is trying to say in fullness, even though that may be the literal interpretation of what he's saying. I think in fullness, we can get nuanced with it. What he's saying is, look, people will rock with you until they don't rock with you anymore. And that's been proven by everybody in this business, right? Even my dog, Jason Whitlock, one day just woke up, said, I'm not doing the show with you anymore, right? I got that phone call after the executives got that phone call, right? I'm on air saying, where you at? I know I can't miss his big ass, and he wasn't there. So the point is, like, we know what loyalty looks like. It looks like all different types, all different levels. You and Skip are rocking, building something magnificent, the biggest thing we've seen in sports media potentially, right? And then all of a sudden, Stephen A. looks up one day and Skip's like, hey, man, you know I'm about to go build this network out west, right? Dipset. All right. It happens in so many different ways. It happens in ways where it happened with Stephen A. and Max. It happened in ways with Molly and Stephen A. It happens. So if someone says it happens, you can't say, no, it doesn't happen or no, it doesn't exist. It does. Matter of fact, raise your hand if you're guilty of it. I've done it before too. I'm like, man, I can't rock with this dude. Not him or me, but at the same time, I can't rock with this dude. Create a different path. Let's go. We've all been there. So let's not act blind to it. Let's not all live in utopia.
I will repeat. You yourself doing your podcast have come out your mouth saying things that one could find very, very challenging, particularly when you're trying to mingle what you do with corporate America. What you think when folks speak up for you and fight on your behalf, that ain't got something to do with loyalty? Like I said, we'll have this conversation on 4th and 1. I'm coming. I can't wait personally.
And I can't wait either personally. I want to see that. Blah, blah, blah. We ain't got to be here all day because the gist of it has already been out. Let's talk about this. To mingle with corporate America, obviously, Cam Newton, you're playing a dicey game. Stephen A. Smith is thinly veiling that warning shot to you. Right? He's saying basically, look, you've done some things. You've crossed the line, but people have said, oh, let's move the line because of our loyalty. We're looking out for you. You rub my back and I rub yours, right? We're doing that right now, but don't get it twisted. We can keep that line where it was that you crossed. And then what? See, what you feel then will be no loyalty. What you feel right now is loyalty. You're protected by the veil of this loyalty. But Cam knows, like, being real, that's me being underneath your thumb, as they say in the world. And no grown-ass man likes to be under somebody else's thumb, even though, as Stephen A. always says famously, we all got bosses. But nobody wants to be under someone else's thumb, someone else's rule. And that's what's happening right now. Cam Newton, knowing that he's going potentially to go on First Take once again as a panelist a couple times a week, maybe in the fall, is starting to realize, hey, man, based on what? Based on the merit of who I am as a former football player, MVP, based on who I am as a commentator right now, as an independent digital creator right now, based on what? If Shannon Sharp is allowed back or you guys want him back or I hear the rumblings of that situation, is there enough room for both of us? Based on what? I have my own platform. I can do what I want on my platform. But Stephen A. Smith broke it down. See, Stephen A. Smith is an OG. Talk about it, man. He helped write the rules that we over here trying to follow. And you got to put some respect on his name for this. He's saying, look, if you're trying to do it like I'm doing it, if you're trying to do it like we do it, if you're trying to do it with mainstream corporate America, Madison Avenue, let me tell you one thing. It's called mainstream for a reason. There's a flow. There's a flow that you must go with to be on that side. There's just a flow. Now, some people don't like that flow. Some people want to be the one that makes the rumblings, right? They want to be the rock that hits the water. They want to be the splash. They don't want to just go with the flow, go with the mainstream. And that's the battle we having right now. That's the battle truly of linear television and independent media. Stephen A. Smith has that own civil war. Stephen A. Smith will literally have a topic say, I can't talk about that right here on First Take, but check out my platform. He has it internally. He's having that battle himself. And now you're starting to see other individuals have that same battle. I got my First Take face, and I also got my 4th and 1 face. And what's coming in the way is, as always, especially when you're talking about men in this industry fighting with our egos, it's a battle for territory. It's a battle for eyeballs. And everybody's doing it the same way. They just terming it different, right? On First Take, we're going to talk about LeBron. We're going to talk about the Lakers. We're going to talk about Luka. We're going to talk about the Yankees. We're going to talk about... Them dudes ain't talking about y'all. Y'all talk about them all day, every day. Then you go to the digital space. You come to the independent media space. You're talking about the same stuff. You're talking about Luka. You're talking about LeBron. You're talking about the Lakers. Yeah. But we also talking about what they up to off the court, off the field. Then, what they up to in their personal lives and their real lives, who they are. On First Take, are they clutch? Are they a winner? Do they have what it takes? And then in digital space, tell me a story about him. Who is he for real? It's all the same thing, just dressed up. It's all synonyms, trust me. So that's what's happening right now, the conflict. And you've seen it play out. I predicted it, told you guys. These cats are going to go at it. Look, I'm with Cam on this one. Look, loyalty, I think there are people you rock with and there are people you don't rock with. And you can say you're being loyal to them, but at the same time, I rock with Max Kellerman all day. But then he got a phone call from Stephen A. Smith while I was sitting there in the studio ear hustling. And then he got off the phone and broke it down to me, told me exactly what they were talking about. And I said, yep, we loyal to a fault. That's my dog. I still talk to him to this day. At the same time, peace, go do what you got to do, big dog. So the loyalty is going to look all different ways, right? It could be the way that Max and I did it amicably. Hey, man, I got so much love for you. Go do it. I got so much love for you. I'm going to tell you I'm going to do it. Then you got it other ways where Stephen A. Smith walks upstairs to same bosses on Max Kellerman and says, either him or me. It's all kind of different ways. Don't get mad at Cam for calling it out because we the ones that's living it out. Beat it up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about all this. And let's get to it. I like this civil war. Blah, blah, blah. Give back. Win big. Be the difference. Be greater than your greatest excuse. Support Project Transition today. Become a gym member and help turn obstacles into opportunities. Oh, that wasn't enough? Y'all want some more? Well, check out the link in my bio. Hydration Situation Live. Blah, blah, blah. It's been a decade plus that I knew that this day was going to come. Oh, this is not hyperbole here.
Because I think the verse.
Time to hydrate. Hydration situation. So